So the transfer window is open. Well, it was opened yesterday. Now it's time for us to obviously speculate on what we think, is going to be the outings and the incomings. But first, yeah, I want to address something that I said in my review for Ipswich and Chelsea. The game we lost 2-0 to Ipswich? Yeah, that one. I had a review and I said João Felix was one of our worst players on that pitch, and hence why he got substituted in the 55 minutes. Now, a lot of people in my comments saying that I don't know ball, I don't know what I'm talking about because João Felix was one of our best players. He created chances, he almost scored a goal. And when I was giving a reason to say if I'm that wrong about his take or about my take, why was he taken out in the 55 minutes? And people say because Maresca doesn't like him. Now, that might be the case. Obviously, we have seen some reports saying that João Felix was not our priority when we bought him. And we know that the reason why we bought him was because we wanted to sell Gallagher to Atletico Madrid. So, if you think that he got substituted because Maresca doesn't like him, now, that's your opinion, and that's fine with me. But my reasoning for saying that he was one of our worst players doesn't mean that I don't think he's a good player. Now, I've always said there's so many times we could have substituted João Felix in the game against Everton, against, I think, Nottingham Forest as well earlier, because I think he's the kind of a player with the talent to play in between small spaces when we are playing against teams with a low block. But it doesn't mean that when he plays shit like I thought he did against Ipswich, I wouldn't call it up. Now, I will call it up. Now, the fact that people are saying that he almost scored a goal or he did score an offside goal, the fact that people think that is a good performance, that's what's wrong with football nowadays, because football is becoming a sport where if you don't get a GA, you didn't have a good game. Or if you have a GA, it means you're having a good game. But no, it doesn't mean that. Now, as a player, he obviously won GA. But there are certain type of games where a player might not have a GA, but actually have a good game. And then there are, games where, we have players like Cole Palmer. He doesn't always have a good game, but he might give you a goal and assist, but that doesn't mean that he was good. So with Joe Felix here, if you go back and look at how many times he disposes the ball into the from the midfield, there were two big chances created by Ipswich because João Felix lost the ball in the midfield. And then the other two chances we almost created, but João Felix didn't pass the ball to Christopher Nkunku on the right time and he tries to shoot. Now, if you look at that and you think, okay, you're going to win matches with players performing like that, then we are in for a long run until we win the Premier League or even win anything this year or in the next coming years. What he did, Joao Felix, and for his capabilities, or for people with his talent, and for people with the amount of ball knowledge, I wanted him to have done more in those circumstances. So now there is a reason that he got substituted for 55 minutes. It could mean that because the coach doesn't like him, or it could also mean that he was shit. Like, I thought he was shit. Yes, of course, he almost scored a goal. Actually, he did score a goal, which was offside, but it doesn't justify the rest of the performances. He was not good. Now, again, I'm not saying he was the only person that was shit. I think 11 of our players, maybe 10 or 9, they were very bad. I think the only players I can say they actually tried was maybe Cole Palmer, but at the end of the day, he didn't really produce anything. Now, the other player could be our goalkeeper. Yes, of course, he conceded 2 chances, but again, in those chances that he conceded, there was nothing he could have done because already our players from the midfield and our defense was just shit. And then you've got obviously Disasi, who's, in 2025, we're no longer talking about Disasi being shit. But at the same time as well, I kind of understand why he's that shit, because when he was playing as a central defender, he was actually not that bad. Now you play him as a right back. Now, this is the thing. When it comes to football, yeah, we can blame players as much as we want, right? But sometimes when they get played out of position, it's hard. It's hard to really dig into them because at the end of the day, they're playing at the wrong position. Now, a right back and a central right back is two different positions. Now they're similar, but they're two different positions. If you played ball in the future, in the past, or if you play ball right now, you know that those positions are very different. Especially with the football nowadays, where a right back needs to overlap, invert. Now it's completely different. So yeah, Disasi was one of our worst players, but I'll stick to my point. I thought Joao Felix was shit. If you think otherwise, now that's your opinion, and that's fine. And you're also allowed to voice it out in my comment section. I don't really care. Now, let's talk about the transfers. There isn't much to talk about, but Chilwell and Kani Chukwuemeka are expected to leave this January window. Now, it doesn't come as a surprise to us because we already knew anyway. When Maresca came, he said, Chilwell is not in my plans, and he also said Kani Chukwuemeka needs to go on a loan and have a game time, improve or develop his skills, and also remember he was coming from so many injuries, and he said him going on a loan won't be a bad idea. But then Ben Chilwell, didn't get sold in the summer. And then obviously Kani Chukwuemeka at the same time, there were no really good offers, so we kept him. But for me, seeing them leaving this January, whether it's on loan or whether it's on, for sale, listen, it doesn't surprise me no more. Because when I look at Kani Chukwuemeka, it doesn't surprise me, but I don't want to hear it because Kani Chukwuemeka is such a very good player. The only problem with him is the injuries, and also obviously you don't get to improve on your health on the pitch if you don't get played. Now you look into our midfielders, we've got Lavia, we've got Enzo, we've got Jude Hall, we've got obviously Caicedo as well in there. Now we might argue that maybe Kani could be better than Jude Hall. Depends how you look at it. But at the end of the day, we have so many good midfielders to your point where if he gets sold, I won't be happy about it, but it will be good for him. And at the same time as well, I would understand why. Now, the other player is Nkunku. Now, with Nkunku, again, it's a bit of a sad situation because we already know the quality that he can produce. He's a very good quality. He's a very good player. He can take his chances and he's a good finisher. He's a good link-up player. He's not as aggressive as Jackson. And I think hence why Jackson gets to start in most of our matches because he's so much aggressive. And the way we play nowadays with high pressing and obviously linking up play, dropping deep, I don't think that Christopher Nkunku has got that in him as compared to Nicholas Jackson. But again, at the same time as well, players like Christopher Nkunku, they are looking to go to World Cup and play for France, for their country. And if they don't get game time in the Premier League and they can only get time in the Conference League, it's hard for them to get picked for their country. And the World Cup is coming very soon. So if he decided to go, I mean, again, I won't be happy about it, but I would understand why. Now, we'll see whether he ends up going to Manchester United, which again, I don't think it fits their system because they're already struggling with a player like Xerxes, which to me, they're kind of similar players. Yeah, so no, we'll see. I would like him to stay, but if he goes, that's fine. Now, these are the two players that we would like them to go, but they're not going anywhere because Chelsea have already made it clear that they're not looking to sell Axel Disasi. Now, I don't even know why we bought Disasi to be honest with you. Like he's a good guy, and it's unfortunate again that he gets to be played in a wrong position. If they were playing him as a central back and then he's still putting up all these shitty performances, I would kind of understand why we would need to obviously sell him. Now, don't get me wrong, I want him sold, but I'm saying it's an unfortunate situation because I can't even remember the last time he played as a central back. He plays as a right back, which he's not a right back. And every time he played as a right back, he is shit. If we consider a goal when he's playing, it's his fault. It's his fault. But I like him. But, he's got to go. But Chelsea have made it clear they want to keep him. And that's part of why I don't understand why we let Chalobah go when we're keeping Disasi. Because Chalobah, for me, is a much better player than Disasi. Much quicker. He can play in different positions as well. And I don't understand why. At the end of the day, it was all business. But it is what it is, eh? Badiashile is the other player that Chelsea are not looking to sell anytime soon. Now he's only 23, 24. They say there's a big sort of like ceiling towards him. They see him to be a player for the future. Now, to some degree, I can understand that because I do like Badiashile. Now, the past couple of games before he got injured, he was actually improving and playing better than than he used to be the games before that. But at the same time as well, he's also an injury prone. Now, you look at our defenders, right? We have Reece James, he's an injury prone. Now, Badiashile is an injury prone. And then you also have Fofana, he's an injury prone. Now, if these players were widespread into different positions, I would be like, okay, maybe keep them. Maybe hopefully their injuries gets better as time goes. But the problem is these players play similar. They play similar position. They all are backline. Now, we can agree. You can score as many goals as you can score with good strikers, good midfielders, good wingers, but you need your defense line to be as strong. Now, if you're gonna have 3, 4 players with injury prone playing the similar position, that's gonna be a big problem for me. So, I was actually hoping that we get to go into the market and buy another center back just for a cover, or even then to people that don't trust Tosin, we can actually maybe get that center back to play. And then when Fofana and Reece James and Badiashile are available, then maybe we can have stress on who we're gonna play. But at least let's have options because yeah, it's not looking good right now. It's not looking good at all. But yeah, people, I think those are just like some quick it's only second day after the window open, so there's gonna be more obviously more news coming out, and we're gonna talk about them once. But for now, these are just the news. I go back to the Joe Felix one. I'm sticking by it. He's a very good player. I love Joao Felix. He's one of those players where they're very skillful. They make you want to watch them play. It's like the Cole Palmers. They're very technical, very talented. But when they have a bad game, I will call it out. I will call it out as it is. The same way I said Cole Palmer. Yes, he tried, but he wasn't good enough. I expect more from him. So I didn't say Joao Felix is the reason why we lost the game, right? But I'm saying he's part of the reason. I don't care whether he scored an offside goal or whatever, but he's part of the reason. Now, see you on the next one.